Hey again, everybody, it's Creech Boo from Drop Dead Ink. As always, I got my little 14 round beater needle set up in this little coil machine, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of coil machines. And try to explain a little bit maybe about, parts or whatever, like if you were going to get anything as far as ordering stuff or whatever. So, have these two right here, whatever. These are two of my favorites. I will say one con about coil machines is you pretty much have to have one set as a liner and one set as a shader. At least you should. So again, that's my liner for this one, my shader. I even with rotary machines, even I have fully adjustable rotary machines, and I always have one. I'll keep one as a liner and one as a shader anyway, because I don't like running anything hot for like a whole tattoo. I will say one pro about coil machines for sure is they last like forever basically. These coils that I have on all these, and these are like really nice tattoo machines anyway. They're not little cheapy Amazon stuff. Although right now you can get either one of these because these are like the first generations of the particular machines. There's two more generations of each of these that have come out since. So I paid quite a bit of money for these years ago, years and years and years and years ago, and they're not super expensive right now. But as far as like parts and whatnot go, of course this is the front of the machine, the artist's front. So if you were ordering parts, like this one thing that this contact screw right here goes into, that's the front standoff. That one right there that my finger's on here, that's the rear standoff. Again, you have your armature bar, your springs. These are springs, and most people obviously don't typically think of these as being springs. This is your front spring, your rear spring. These are called thumb screws, or sometimes they use like wing nuts on them. Again, your contact screw. Some of these, like, I don't know if you can see that little silver thing. Like, these are brass. This is a brass frame. That little silver thing right there is sticking in it. That's actually called a chuck. And these are your coils. These are 10 wrap coils that I pretty much have on all of them. Like with a liner, you could get away with like 8 wrap coils, and like they even have 12 wraps, sometimes even 14 wrap coils, which is kind of a little overkill if you ask me. But I use 10 wraps on pretty much everything, except I have a Mickey Sharp style that has 8 wrap coils on it. So again, one thing about like the pros of these are like there's too much to mention. One thing you actually learn about the mechanics of tattooing, which if you're going to be a tattoo artist, these right here, you can see that's a capacitor. And you'll notice on these two, like, there's not a lot to the frame, which kind of really plays a significant role in how your tattoo machine is gonna like run like basically simple. So basically, what happens on a coil machine, like, there's two. Let's see if I can get them for you. On the front of these coil, well, this is actually the front of the coil. You'll see these things, and they give like, so electricity travels through these, and it has like a magnetic a reaction to these armature bars, so they'll magnetically like pull and release basically. So basically what happens on these, if you get frames that have, like I've seen frames out there that look like pot leaves or anchors or all these like retarded things. I call them like ghetto tattoo machines. Basically, like most of the electrical current, a lot of it will end up traveling through this frame. So when you buy machines with these elaborate frames that quite frankly look ridiculous, you're losing like a lot of the power that the coil should be getting and giving out. So the simpler the frame, in all honesty, like the better you are performance wise. Yeah, and plus basically when you have a bunch of junk over on one side of the machine, like all the weight is on that one side. So yeah, just simple is better. And again, I see people like on about the stroke length, and they say, squeezing a dime in there, like that's more than a dime, and this is my aligner. Again, these don't really, how you bend these springs that gap there is not the gap you're looking for when you set the stroke length. And I have another video on it. The stroke length is how far that needle travels back and forth, so it really doesn't matter. Like if I bend these springs until it runs good, you know what I mean. I don't really, depend on squeezing a diamond, or like if I was going to squeeze a diamond there and then tried using this as a liner, I'd like be slicing people up. So it doesn't, that when people say that's completely incorrect, it has nothing at all to do with it. This one's my shader, and this is actually, I bet this has got about a 4.5 millimeter stroke length. Well, and it's pretty much about the same, you know what I mean? So it really doesn't matter. And when you talk about the hit, basically on rotary machines, when you turn those knobs or whatever, just like when you're turning one of these contact posts, you're controlling the stroke length. So one thing I will say about, alright, so some of the pros of, rotary machines, for one, they last forever. These are all original coils on them, and I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours on these. It's still going strong. And you actually learn about, machine mechanics. Like when I was getting apprenticed, I couldn't even tattoo anybody until I could actually put one of these together, like completely blindfold. And I mean, it was stripped down to nothing, no washers and everything. So you learn a lot about like the mechanics and about stroke length and proper stroke length settings and all that stuff you're supposed to learn when you tattoo. There's just the pros. That in itself is probably the biggest pro. The cons, they are a little heavier. They are quite heavy, especially in comparison to a rotary. They're not really heavy, but in comparison to a rotary machine, they're heavy. And the only other real con is that the noise. You know what I mean? But again, you can see that armature bar moving, and that's got some serious push behind it right there. And like I was talking about in another video, these springs, like when you're running this and you like even dragging it, I'll just drag it across my skin a little bit, or my jeans here, you can kind of see that takes a little bit. So actually this is like, it's a softer hit, and what happens with a coil machine, when you get that little drag in it, you're actually leaving a little bit more pigment in the skin with these. So they're definitely way, way better for doing any kind of color work. Like I don't use rotaries for any serious color work, certainly not any big color work. But yeah, I mean, like learning on these seriously is priceless. I would never ever say anything bad. And if I had a choose between having coil machines and rotary machines as an in general machine, I would take these coils every day, all day over it. I actually won't even use a rotary machine when it comes to like traditional style tattoos. I wouldn't even use a rotary machine because it, kind of like just breaks up the whole traditional aspect of tattooing. So I use these actually. I have tons of rotaries, and I always end up using these. The rotaries are fun to play with. Although that new one that I got, that I did a video about wrapping tattoo pens, that was like my newest rotary I bought, and I love it. But yeah, I would take a coil machine every day, all day over a rotary. As far as like the durability, they're gonna last forever. I have tattoo machines, coil machines, almost as old as I am. I'm almost 50 with the original coils on it. I'm sure there's no rotary machines out there that would last nearly that long. And right now, you can actually get pretty decent, now that the rotary machine is like the new big thing. You can buy, tattoo machines for fairly or coil machines for pretty inexpensive, good quality ones too. I don't usually promote any companies out there on this channel. I'm not sponsored by anybody, but I will say right now, Unimax Tattoo Supply, which is a fantastic tattoo supplier, and they've been around for years and years. They have a really good reputation. It's unimaxshops.com. www.unimaxshops.com, I think, is their website. It's Unimax Tattoo Supply, but Unimax Supply, I believe it is. www.unimaxsupply.com. Check them out, go on their website. And right now, like I said, years ago I bought this, which is a first generation Apollo. awesome tattoo machine, and they actually advertise these as the strongest running tattoo machines, and I don't think that's false advertisement at all, because these things, they're like beasts. So yeah, and again, like, I'm not trying to promote any particular anybody, but it's a great company. They sell great products, and you can buy these right now for actually pretty inexpensive. I'm not going to get into it. Put in a little bit of work, you know what I mean, yourself. But again, learning on a coil machine is priceless, and you're actually keeping that, at least a little bit of that tattoo heritage alive when get into them. Not many people know it, but and there's one person who always gets the credit for it, but Thomas Edison was actually the first person to make a electric tattoo machine, even though he didn't advertise it as a tattoo machine. He advertised it back then as an electric pen, and it was like 18 something. But Thomas Edison was the one who made an electric pen. Rumor has it that he actually tattooed 3 dots on his own arm with it, and you can actually look it up like on Google, Thomas Edison's electric pen. But it's basically, the coils and everything on it. Basically, I mean, another guy made another version, and he actually added an inkwell in the tube. And then got the credit for basically making or electric tattoo machines. So it was basically Edison's idea. So, I mean, like, one of the greatest inventors of all time, this was the person who really got these things going. So yeah, a little bit of weight, and again, the noise or whatever. But I mean, I have clients that just love the noise. They don't like that silent rotary sensation. So, or the experience. They want to get tattooed, get tattooed. So yeah, and again, you want a soft hitting machine. These are the way to go. And again, you should always have backups too. One thing I will say too about these is these. It doesn't happen all the time, but these springs right here, and usually when they do break, they break kind of right down here. I did another video about, you can get these, sometimes I drill out pennies so it covers the whole circumference of that spring, because if you just keep washers on these, just regular little skinny washers, your springs will break pretty easy. These are thick, oh my god, what are they called? Spring saddles. So you can get sometimes you can buy square ones that'll take up the whole spring. I used to drill out pennies and put them on instead of the washer, and these are spring saddles too. But so what happens too is on these, sometimes these springs will crack, and it usually happens right down there. So I mean, if you have to oh my god, you might have to work on your tattoo machine, God forbid. But what I've learned over the years on these, and again, what I've learned on these, I've learned how to troubleshoot rotary machines. Just by learning on these. So yeah, if you're going to start tattooing the right way. Keep that heritage alive in the tattoo business, And, I see guys out here all the time on this channel, what few professional tattoo artists there are on YouTube. All of them have rotary machines, or all of them have coil machines, and none of them have anything bad to say about coil machines. It's usually the rotaries that they're talking about in a negative way. And I feel the same way. If you want to just be lazy and jump into the business and not learn anything and fuck people up, buy a rotary, get a pen, learn with a pen. You're not learning anything, you know what I mean? You just want to go out and hack people up. So the choice is yours. You can end your career within a year, or you can learn the right way and hopefully have years and years of a good tattoo career, and pass a little heritage on to the next generation, like I'm trying to do. So I don't know, y'all. You're thinking, so yeah.